So with Russia now formally announcing a military operation in Ukraine, let me take you through the sequence of events over the past few months. Now, before we get into the timeline, here's some background. Russia and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or the NATO as we know it, have always had a tense relationship. Russia says that the United States and NATO have continually violated pledges allegedly made way back in the 1990s that the alliance would not expand into the former Soviet bloc. Meanwhile, alliance leaders have said that they are open to new diplomacy with Russia on arms control and some other matters as well, but that they will not discuss shutting down NATO's doors to new members forever. So that's a little bit of the background, but now moving on to the timeline. On December 17th, Russia presented demands including a legally binding guarantee that NATO will give up military activity in East Europe and Ukraine. On Jan 10th, then, news broke that the US and Russian diplomats had spoken, but they failed to narrow their differences on Ukraine. Within a week of this, and just by the 17th of Jan, Russian forces had arrived in Belarus. In retaliation and as protection, on the 24th of Jan, NATO decided to put forces on standby and reinforced Eastern Europe with more ships as well as more fighter jets. By the 12th of February, Russian buildup at the Ukraine border had increased, and PBS reported that the US expects a Russian invasion of Ukraine to begin as early as within the next week. Just 2 days later, on Feb 14th, in what initially came as some sort of relief, the Russian defense minister said that some of Russia's military exercises are concluding and Russian troops are returning from the border. The US denied all of these claims of the Russian troops pulling back, and they said that they in fact have satellite images as proof, and that the US Secretary of State also said on Feb 16 that Putin can pull the trigger today, tomorrow or next week. By Feb 17, the US president said there is every indication that shows us that Russia is prepared to go into Ukraine. The next day, on Feb 18, that is, US accepted talks with Russia's foreign affairs minister for the next week, but this was on the condition that there is no further conflict in the coming few days. On Feb 21st, in hopes of another round of de-escalation, the French government reported that US President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin had agreed to a Macron-brokered summit. Now, things changed quite quickly when just 1 day later, on the 22nd of Feb, Putin ordered Russian troops to two breakaway regions of Ukraine for what he called peacekeeping operations. By the 23rd of Feb, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken declared that Russia will invade Ukraine before the night is over. And on 24th Feb, as we know it, Putin formally announced a military operation in Ukraine. That's how the events have played out so far, leading up to the current invasion of Ukraine by Russia.